And a very good evening to you. My name is Kobby Spiky Nkrumah, and today, fortunately, there's no football. Well, there is football. So for those who are not watching football and are listening to your radio, hoping to hear some commentary. No commentary. The geeks are here. We're here to talk tech. We miss you just as you have missed us. Someone asked me, was I going to have a show today? And I said, no. And unfortunately, I can't remember who asked me. But I hope you were hoping I would be on air and online and be listening out. And yeah, I'm here. And so is Winston. And so is Paul Ninson. I'm not going to mention the last person here because he went AWOL on us without telling anybody. But yeah, since you probably already know who it is, it's Michael Ajite.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Who asked you to say hello?
You can't, why are you going to stop me?
I just thought I'd be able to mute your mic because pretty much we don't know you're here.
Thankfully, he's not sitting behind the console, so no one can stop me. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I've missed you all too.
Well, yeah. So we've missed everyone. We've missed talking tech, and there's been a lot of football going on, and a lot of tech during the football. We did talk about tech prior, tech and football prior, and it was interesting to see. I saw something. Let me just talk about this real quick before we get into the conversation proper. Winston, do you know that there was an app for the World Cup that let people sort of point your camera on the field and then you see player info and stuff. Whoa, that was super cool.
When we had a conversation, that was touched on, but we only touched on the player side.
Yeah, the player side, not
we didn't see the consumer.
Yeah, the audience, the spectators,
which was actually very, very cool.
It was very cool. Seeing that was very cool.
I think we should do a review of the tech in the FIFA.
We weren't there to try it, unfortunately.
I mean, but the things we saw, there were certain instances that it seems VAR was not used or VAR was not consulted. Why did that happen? Why didn't they? Those are very interesting things.
Yeah.
Michael wasn't here to enjoy that.
So he doesn't know what you're talking about.
It's football. Okay, yeah, I still don't know what you're talking
about.
Exactly.
So for listeners who are regulars and those who miss the show but still go to our podcasts and listen, you probably heard the name I mentioned before, Paul Ninson. And if you don't know who he is, remember some time ago we talked about a gentleman who was on a mission to set up a photo library. And we had a long conversation with him, and he told us about the goals. He told us about the plans and everything. And, well, guess what? He's in town, and we dragged him here. Camera and all. Yes. So we want to know how far, us in Ghana. First off, Akwaba.
That's it.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
What's the why?
I don't know, man. It just felt very year of return to me when
I just said, "Oh yeah, right now we're in the year of return." Isn't it?
How long have you been in the country right now?
Off and on about maybe 10 months.
That's a year.
But wait. When was he in the studio in these 10 months?
He's probably heard Akwaba so many times. He's sick of it.
The man has come. Akwaba is just welcome. If somebody comes to your house, don't you Akwaba them?
We've never Akwabaed anybody else.
He actually doesn't in his house.
Of course, we're just walking.
Moving forward, we will Akwaba every new guest.
From now on.
Yes.
So we have to find our own Akwaba tech. Yeah, so...
Hello world.
Hello. No, Windows hello. You know when the smile comes and then we have to find something. Hello world is too generic.
Yeah, that's programming.
That's the first thing everybody writes.
We are supposed to make tech very... Never mind.
So we'll start the show with hello world.
Yeah.
Print F, hello world. Yeah. So hi, Paul.
Hi, my brother.
I've been asked not to welcome you, so since you're here, how's it been? How's the project going? And what's new?
So, first of all, I'm grateful to be here with you guys. I'm grateful for the support. When my story and my vision was published at first, you were one of the few people who reached out to me and we talked. That was exactly a year ago. And I'm back.
Wow.
Yes.
Why do I feel like it was just like a couple of months ago?
No, it's a year ago.
It's been a long year.
Wow.
Time flies in the tech world.
Yeah,
it does
so
indeed.
I'm back in Ghana. And for the last 10 months, I've been building a team, building Decan. The goal has been simple. Why wait to build a whole building when you can start small?
Yeah.
So we have a small beginning. We the last time we talked about the vision. We are not a library. We are a visual education institution.
VEI.
Yes, so we more than the library. You know, the library is a component of the whole vision, right? We are here. The organization's here to educate people using visuals. That's a simple part.
So we're here to educate people using visuals. That's the vision.
Yeah.
So if you're someone like a photo like Winston,
X.
What
X
happened?
photo, I don't know why it says X, but meanwhile,
I mean, I still do dabble,
So-
but mainly in video, not.
so you have video. Like at the end of the day, you can take a still out of a video. So if you're like Winston, who likes to dabble in visual stuff, this should be of interest to you. Or if anyone you know, your kid has shown interest in anything visual. So when you say visual, Paul, does it cut across photography, videography, VFX, even VR?
Yep.
It does.
It covers all. You know, sometimes I think the definition of visual become limited when people think it's photography and videography
Exactly.
only, but it's more than that, right?
Mm.
Is whatever we see.
So-
right? In every form of expression.
Okay, so whatever we see in every form of expression.
Yeah.
Why do I have a feeling Winston wants to ask something?
Oh, not yet.
Because of the way you arched your head.
Yeah.
I'm ruminating.
So right now, where's the Kana? Because you said you're going to start. You're starting from somewhere. No
Yeah.
need to wait to get to the full goal to start. So where is it now?
So we have two properties at South Labadi,
Okay.
right behind the South Labadi Primary School.
Okay.
Ted Kajano, precisely. I've been working with the team, and now we launching the place on 16th, which is this Friday.
So Friday we have a date, guys.
Yeah.
I'm there. I don't know why I look at me like I will go.
Yes, because you can just up and
Nobody
just
knows.
like this is you we're talking about. You
Yeah,
just
so
up
we-
and go.
Yeah, so we opening it on. We've been working a lot,
Wow.
right? We have books. We have a library,
Right.
which is the first photo library in Africa. We have Story Lab, which is interesting to you because we talked about it
Yes.
before.
Yes.
We have 3 classrooms. We
Oh.
have a studio. We have a production room. We have offices. We have our own gallery. It's important because it's the first photo gallery in Africa as well.
Right.
And it's very important to me. The gallery is as a channel of distribution for photographers and give opportunity to photographers as well. So that's what I've been doing. We have a kitchen, actually.
That's very important.
And
yes.
then we have a compound, right?
Mm.
I built it in such a way of my experience as a photographer
Right.
coming up. So we have a compound with tables and chairs, bench kind of lover's bench kind of way where people can come in and work from there, and it's free Wi-Fi. We have a big compound where we can have a movie screening. We
Wow.
have events. We can actually have 2 events on the compound.
Wow. This is big in my mind. I haven't been there, but I can visualize it. And I don't know, like, it's giving me a Silicon Valley campus vibe, you know? Like, when
Is
I
the
heard...
food free? If
well,
the
he
food
said
is
kitchen.
free,
He said kitchen. He didn't say
is
restaurant.
the food in the kitchen?
Somebody's food.
No, I said you said Silicon Valley.
Okay.
And that's what
I said
would-
Paul didn't say.
That you. So we are come to confirm if it's full Silicon Valley.
Not yet. Not yet. So, but what we do.
So it's Valley right now.
yes, yes. Not yet. We will get there very soon.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So all this, it's open to everyone,
Yeah.
regardless of whether you are a photo or a video. But once you have interest, you just basically have to have interest in what's happening there to come there, or you can just come and use the space.
Yeah. So for me, the point is like, if you know my backstory, I started photography 5 years ago. I bought my Canon T3i. That was my first camera, and
The rebels.
yes, the rebels. So when I started photography, I was looking for a space, and I would travel all the way from Kumasi to come to Accra,
Wow.
just looking for a place where storytellers meet. You know, looking for a place where I can belong, I can learn, because the YouTube was too much. You know, I used to go, I used to go to Vodafone Cafe in Kent University campus and sit there all day.
And get serious.
Yes. You know, I was hungry.
Right.
looking for that place. So I now the can space is basically built for someone like me. Back in the days when I was looking for a place, and actually one of the things I'm really proud of is our library is not just a books library, right? So in very soon we bring in computers and iPads, where when you come into the library you can actually have access to Creative Life. You can free of charge. You can have access to National Geographic content. You can have access to masterclass and all that. So you're given every resources to succeed as a photographer. So this is where the space we are in right now.
Wow. So if you've been listening from the beginning, you've heard everything Paul said. I wish this had come some 15 years ago. Yes, because that was when my photography, blood was boiling. But Charlie, I couldn't chase it.
15 years ago was what, 2007?
So
No, I'm just.
why you try to
calculate?
calculate?
It's just perspective.
Okay.
Like sometimes when I hear 15 years ago, I think it should be in the 90s, and I'm like, oh, it's just not so. I have a question.
Okay.
So is it? Everybody would like to know this.
Okay.
Is it free?
100%.
That's fantastic.
100%.
Except the food.
We,
For now.
Somebody's food.
yeah.
For now.
So we are non-profit.
Oh, okay.
That is why I went on the non-profit route, right? Knowing my background, knowing where I came from, where a lot of photographers like myself or visual artists are struggling to even find a way to succeed. I have a lot of people reaching out to me that I don't want to do the wedding. I really actually want to do the documentary and photojournalism. But how do I survive? How do I?
This guy's just stirring up trauma. He's stirring up so much trauma. I hope. I feel like I need to text someone right now to listen to the show, and he and I would definitely come to your place because it's actually not far from us. So we've also dabbled in the non-profit educating of photographers along the line. It's been very interesting when you realize that people actually just want to do it, but the resources like the camera equipment and everything is very difficult to come by because you put out a lot of money to get the equipment.
Yeah.
And
Come and do the wedding.
to be honest, let's go into trauma territory. To be honest, my experience in the creative space in Ghana has not been as exciting as I had hoped it would be. And it made me realize that if I really, like you said, if I wanted to do that documentary or wanted to do something that I was really passionate about, I would have to foot the bill myself.
100%.
And it's very difficult to have an idea and approach someone and tell the person that, okay, would you like to pre-finance this? We do this together. Most people are going to be like, no.
Even when there's the hope, right? So for me, I sold my iPhone, right? I sold my iPhone to buy the camera. My mom even added some few bucks of money to support.
Wow.
Right? And I had no hope. You get the
Yeah.
point. It's like I tried everything. Like I'm a very vision-driven person. So if I say I tried everything, I tried everything. One day I'll tell you a story. I used to have a gig when I started photography. So the point was that I've studied the YouTube for a long time.
Yeah.
So when I got the camera, Ben Long, right?
Yes.
Oh, my brother, I finished that thing. It was like a thesis. I whipped that thing. I finished it. Like I went back to back. Hans, Hans Peter.
Ghanaian.
Yes, Hans.
Yes, I
Hans.
know Hans. Hans is actually one of the people we started photography with. Really cool.
Yes,
guy.
Hans gave me the YouTube tutorial then when I didn't have a camera.
So you were in tech?
I was in tech. I was
we
studying
were all
textiles.
in tech.
He said that already.
Yeah, I was in textiles. I studied textiles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What do you think?
Because
I studied textiles.
because Hans and I and William Corti.
My brother, I know all of them.
Yeah, we all worked together.
They were
as-
even Hans. Hans started photography way
before that,
So
yes.
when my national service, Hans was doing his national service at Dean of Students
Yes,
place.
yes.
So I used to go there. I had
Okay.
side gigs and all that. So I used to go there, and that is when I started this photography thing. And I was like, Hans, give me YouTube. He downloaded this gig, like a huge gig, and I went to study it. And I started. So I used to come to Accra. I had my one gig only at Lingo Pram Pram. and I was being paid 250 Ghana cedis, and I was not paid on time. So now he still owes me that money. And
So you take a car
all the
from
way.
Kumasi.
So I get to Circle, then from Circle to Ningo Pram Pram.
Wow.
And now sometimes I reflect on it, and I was like, what was the dumbest thing was I
Yeah,
do?
like,
And I don't make
There's
profit.
no profit, exactly.
There's no profit.
Your
But I was-
transportation.
It was because you needed to get that
I wanted
experience.
and I also wanted something like, how do you have a camera and somebody offer you 250, right? And you won't take it?
See them.
You won't take that money?
This,
You know, before you guys continue sharing your traumatic stories, I'd like to invite you to send your messages to us on WhatsApp 055 1997 055 11 11 997 055 11 11 997. Do you have a camera? Have you ever dabbled in photography? Do you have a story to share, like Paul and Winston's traumatic stories in Ghana? And what's life like being a visual artist, regardless of whether you're a photographer, a videographer, you paint, you do VR, you create VR stuff, or even sorry, if you do Photoshop. You know, I want to know a graphic design, whatever it is, but if you're a visual artist, share a story with us. And what do you think about the Decan Center? And Friday, are you going to be there? We're going to go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we want to know more about this center it's a visual education institution.
Yes.
See, we'll be right back. The show is Geek Squad on Joy FM every Tuesday. If you want to know about tech and everything relating to tech, just tune in here. And if you are someone who doesn't have a radio, and you're probably listening to us via podcast later on, or somebody was streaming this and you're hearing my voice right now, you can find us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts. You can find us on the Joy Online app, on the Adom Online app. In fact, if you want to find us anywhere, just Google Joy Geek Squad. I'll put a hashtag Joy Geek Squad anywhere on social media. It could be Facebook, it could be YouTube, it could be Twitter. If that's not enough, we're on Telegram. Just go into Telegram, t.me/Joy Geek Squad. There's a group of geeks out there. And over there, we help you solve your problems. If you have any challenge with any tech whatsoever, go in there, drop a message, and hundreds of geeks over there. Just hundreds of geeks. You know what that is? That's our small valley. Not Silicon yet. So, and we're back in the studio. We've been joined by Paul Ninson, who's setting up the Decan Center. If you've been listening from the beginning, if you've been tuned in to Geek Squad for God knows how long, you know about this project, which started off as a bid to become a photo library, but has now transcended that and become a visual education center. So if you're someone who's into visual arts, creating anything that has to do with the vision, this is where you need to be. And the place is going to be opened on Friday the 16th. We're all going to be there. If you want to meet Winston, if you want to meet me, come. I didn't say Michael because we don't know if he's going to be around.
there or not.
If you want to meet Paul, you should come there on the 16th. So, Paul.
I should give you guys a shirt to my picture on it. So if I'm not around, I'm there anyway.
We won't show
Or
it.
better still, we should make a face mask like you made for Obi, the mask, the real mask.
We won't do it. This guy sold us out. Say, you're going to court martial.
You know, where's your car parked today? I'm going to take a picture of my face on your car.
Back to the conversation. So, Paul, this, you since telling your story, you always had to come to Accra to do all this stuff, and you're setting up this in Accra. So I'm beginning to wonder, the next Paul Ninson, who's somewhere in Rau right now, who's probably getting into a bus right now to go and do a gig at Ningo Pram Pram right now, is wondering when would he get something of the sort in his region. Is there any plan to expand beyond Accra?
So thank you so much for the question. So I say this, I'm building an ecosystem.
Right.
I'm not building just a visual library, right? The ecosystem comprises of a lot. If you see Decan, how I've structured Decan today, we have the library, right, which is a research library. We have photos books on Africans only. We have photo books on Europe and others, right? We have all these are online as well. So you can look at the books before you come. Again, we have archives, right, connected with other institutions across the world. we're building that database,
Right.
right? When you're there, you could be able to access other things. So the ecosystem does not rely on Accra, right? Building partnership, developing curriculums, right? Sometimes when you say education, visual education, people basically think about it as a university or high school or something. But no, my mother needs to be educated on visuals,
Yeah.
right? The visual culture. So it's not just here. Currently, we're doing an exhibition called Ahinie. I'm a curator.
Right.
One of the things I studied in school. So Bob Pixel of Blessed Memory,
Yeah.
his archives is in our institutions, and we exhibiting through that. And my work's on Asante.
Right.
The work is from Asante, right? Menshia, specifically Asante Kingdom. But we exhibiting in Accra. We're looking for partnership and building. We have our my good friend Ibrahim Mahama in the northern region. We have other people also coming out. Again, the name of the center is called Deacon. What does that mean? Take the lead.
Yeah.
I'm not building this for myself. That's why it's a non-profit. It's a platform. It's an ecosystem. So if we find people in Rara who are willing, right, you help them to do something like that. The school in Rara, how do we help them? So currently, one of the things we're doing is that we're having a community program. Kajano, Southla, we've identified 16 schools. We're helping them in visuals. When was the last time you saw Kwame Nkrumah picture in any of the religious and moral education books or any of our textbooks? That's the question. But these pictures exist. But where do they exist? Right? But if you're able to influence some of these things in a small scale, for example, we in our education program, we're developing visual education, history of visual education. We want to turn it into a curriculum, right? If you take it to Rara, the person can see Kwame Nkrumah's picture, President Kofo's picture. The person can see how Osu was in 1952. How do you inform such a kid? For the rest of the life of the kid, it will be an imprint. But in our school, when we were in secondary school and senior high school, the books were illustrated.
Yeah.
Kwame Nkrumah's picture was illustrated, right? So
Yeah.
for me, these are some of the things you make impact in it. We have teacher programs for teachers. Right now, we keep getting requests a lot. We currently, according to my team, we have 72 requests from different schools
Wow.
of people willing and they know what we bring to the table. And so these are some of the things, not just specifically towards Accra, right? Our base is Accra right now, but Tamale,
Right.
all these places are places we're willing to go and build partnerships and program. We have incredible lineup of program and activities and projects which gradually will be rolling out from next year.
Okay. So some of these projects, if you could just, which one is your favorite? Like, which one clicked when you came up with that? You're like, wow, this is it.
Okay, first time hearing it, right? So I've been working on this project using VR. So just imagine. So my background, I went to school in ICP in New York, one of the most bougie elite photography filmmaking schools in the world, right? I was the only black in class. And I keep on saying it's very easy to be the top photographer. Over what? Look at the ecosystem space in Accra. Easy. Go to top school, come back, then make the money. But imagine, my school has a gallery. When a kid can be able to use VR to access the gallery, MoMA, Museum of Modern Art, all these museums,
Yeah.
right? New York history. What if we are teaching in class? It's like all the things we teach in the school are so written, never seen. We've studied so many things we never saw before. Religious and moral education, chemistry, all these things. So for me, when I say visual education, it's not just towards photography.
Yeah.
It's what if the kid can see,
Yeah.
right? The dinosaurs, which we've imagined for the rest of our life, which have never been seen. What if these kids can see
Yeah.
them in VR? These are
Yeah.
what technology is able to do. So for us, if we talk about visuals, these are some of the things I'm talking about. So this is a project I'm very, very passionate about. I've been working with a team, a very good friend of mine in Yale, who's a Ghanaian as well. We've been working on it, and a very good friend of mine too, who's a filmmaker. We've been working on it, and we really invest in our time and the resources in that, where we can take it to a school and, again, open source.
Right.
We are not hoarders. I went to New York, and that's why I came back. I don't want to hoard all the knowledge I had. I don't want to hoard all the resources I have. Even when talking about resources, do you know that there are grants for photographers and filmmakers? Do you know that if you produce your documentary, you can actually be paid to show it in movie screening in other parts of the world? So you see, this is what I'm trying to do. It's like, my brother, we can actually show our documentaries and films at bigger platforms, not just this place. So you open the gate for everybody. Most of the times we have a system where there's so many gatekeepers, that you can't buy. So when I started photography, one of the reasons what motivated me to go to New York, because there were so many gatekeepers. If you don't see this person, if you don't do this, and actually I said to myself that I have it on my bedroom, and I said, dear gatekeepers, continue to keep the gate. One day I'll build the building and open it for everybody. So this is my vision. This is my goal.
Wow. You know, this VR thing, I love. Not just like, I love, because, you know, he took me way back to senior high school. I love reading, but I hated history class. Because, now, this is my trauma. You guys are talking about your trauma.
You know what's interesting? Everything you said is stirred up by trauma.
Yeah, like,
but it's also piqued my interest. So I'm very confused.
you know,
Right
it's
now.
like, this is stuff that could have been so different, and yet it wasn't. You know, you went through, you read history books, and unless you had an overactive imagination and created all those worlds, you know, Mansa Musa and Asokrochona and the migration. I mean, I have my own visual representation of King Agokoli in my head, right? Because that's how I had to create that story in my head. What about that kid who's not that visually capable and needs assistance? This would help, you know what I mean? 'Cause-
You know, just to add, I actually found out last week that about 50% of the world's population cannot create images in their mind.
I saw that tweet.
I read the paper. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, you're walking and there's no voice in your head.
Yep.
There's
like,
no picture in your
there's
mind.
You're
Nothing.
just,
It's
you're
just-
just, kokeke.
Nope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just,
Hey.
what do you call that thing?
What
The
that?
Calabars on GTV before they come on. That is you throughout.
It's very surprising. But to talk about the history thing, my friend and I, Selassie and I, worked with Yao Pare, where we went to
Yeah.
do a 360 shoot of some of Ghana's
tourist sites.
tourist sites, and
castles.
the castles. It was actually very interesting putting that together and hosting it on the website, because I was like, oh, okay, this saves kids the trip.
Exactly. So the Story Lab of Decan, that is what it is. In a sense that, right, you did that. But you see, the channel of distribution,
Yeah.
Yeah.
how many kids have access to that? We are just behind South Labadi's primary school. And I'm talking about South Labadi Primary School in the center of Accra. They don't have a computer lab. The computer lab is so, they have this desktop, the one at Tikopo, right, in the school, and it doesn't go on. And so the whole school in South Labadi do not have access to internet. I mean, brother,
And this
listen
is
to-
in Accra.
this is Accra. They don't have access to internet. And again, we can all jump into this of, government. And for me, this is the solution, right?
Yeah.
Individual artists, individual people trying to find a way. What if there's no electricity in Rara? What can we do? So that's why I have the Story Lab. Bringing someone like you, Yao Pare, and going to bring the gigs, right? From various universities. Come together. What can we do to solve the problem? Right? So if that is the key. For me, bringing all, like right now, I'm sure you're getting some ideas.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You get the point.
Plenty.
And again,
I would like to say sadly. I hope there's you guys are putting like a psychiatry, not psychiatry, a psychologist wing to help all those who've experienced a lot of trauma in Ghana to unburden themselves.
Before they come-
Everything you are saying, like when you talk about the gatekeepers, and it's not even the gatekeepers for me. The biggest challenge for me in the creative space in Ghana is the value the local person, the average person in Ghana puts on creativity.
So,
It's-
rather the devaluation of creativity.
there's no value.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much.
exactly.
So it becomes a problem because me currently, I don't enjoy doing photography. That's why I say I'm an ex-photography or videography much, because it's like I had funny. I think I talked to Michael once. There was this gig that I got was to do an ad, and I was super excited.
Oh.
He helped me do previs and everything. I was super stoked, and we go into production. And you're talking about late payments. Oh, they didn't even pay upfront for the production to begin. We had to foot the bill, everything. And we finish everything. And someone in marketing is like, they don't like this. So we should change it. So we go through like 3 or 4 changes. And then the president of the company sees my very first submission. And he goes, that's the one we are using, right? And now the marketing team comes back and they're like, oh, okay, so the very first one you did, can you clean it up?
Where's Obi?
And I'm like, is there no creative on your marketing team?
I think it's also talking about that. In my experience of also, I worked with when I was in New York, I had the privilege to work with BBDO. I had the privilege to work with AstraZeneca, right? And to the level you're talking about is the ecosystem. Right, the devaluation you're talking about is just the ecosystem. It's not matured yet.
Yeah.
You get the point. Back in the days, right, even television, it's not saturated. How many television stations are in Ghana?
I think now they're like 30 or...
Now it's more.
Yes.
But even that, we're not still there yet.
Oh, yeah.
Because one category fills like 1/3 of the pie. One category of TV channels. I'm looking at you, all these church channels.
You get the point.
Yeah.
So, my brother, till we all, right, be able to develop the ecosystem, sometimes people think that, oh, I want to be the top photographer individually. But you forget that it's an ecosystem you are in. When I went to New York, right, I'm like, wow. So, by the way, I took 42 courses in school. I went to school every single day. I was like the kid in the candy shop.
Wow.
Why? Because
Just
it's like it
That's-
was
that's
so available
yeah.
to me.
That's for knowledge.
Yeah.
Testable. You get the point, because it was so available and the ecosystem is so strong. You have
Yeah,
after
the
school.
support.
You're wandering into faculties and the faculties and classes you have no business being in, and the lecturers look at you like, "Are you here?" And it's like, "No, but I want to. Know. I want to know."
Yeah,
I want
you're
to learn
allowed.
it."
And they allowed me. They allowed
Oh
me.
God.
And I studied archiving, museum management, and all
Wow.
that. And I'm in a class, and I have hope that after school, right, I can work at National Geographic, I can work at New York Times, I can work at BBC, I can work at this place. But in Ghana, it's like, what's the hope? Like, right? So if you don't build the ecosystem, we'll continue individually, and that is why they can exist, right? To be able to build the ecosystem for look at what he's saying, like. The things, it's not the marketing person. The marketing person has never experienced some of the things you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's never seen it before. So we all collectively
I'll
be
wait.
able to bring it out.
Tell them the other story.
There are too many.
No,
Which one?
the one where someone actually took time to sit down and appreciate you guys working. That's Salasi
Oh,
experienced
so we so typically when you do a shoot and everything, clients are always like, oh, in 2 weeks, blah blah blah. So there was this one time where my client came with a very late gig, and to show support, which was very rare, he said that he was going to come with us and stay with us throughout the entire editing process and everything. He spent the whole day with us, went home around 2 a.m. The next day, when we were going to be paid, he paid us double and gave us a free drone. And he was like, your job is too difficult.
Wow.
Because he was like, he just thought that I'll just give you the footage, or you
Yeah,
get
go and
the
do whatever
footage
you
and
do.
go and
You
whatever.
click one, two,
Yeah.
edit is
He was like, the very first challenge he thought was he didn't know how selecting music for a video is one of the most. It's so
Speaking of which, if you need music, you know where to find me.
shameless plug.
But
Shameless plug.
But you see, again, talking about ecosystem,
Yeah.
I used to shoot, I'm a filmmaker as well, and I never edit in US. No, I shoot. Somebody's job is to edit. And again, photography. Sometimes I talk about it, people don't understand. The copyright system works in US so much that when I work for BBDO or AstraZeneca, they pay me a day rate. They rent my camera. Then we have an agreement. If you use my picture for a year, you have to pay me. A year has different variations. If it's social media, it's different. If it's website,
media.
traditional media, if it's billboard, it's different. If it's worldwide, then I'm buying Land Cruiser. You get the point. It works. Ghana has a copyright law. You get the point. So till we all be able to talk about these things and bring these issues up and advocate for ourselves, right? And that is why, again, I came back and I'm willing to work with all partners and people, right? To be able to educate people, again, photographers, filmmakers, and whoever is involved.
All
bring
creatives.
all creative, bring everybody in the same room and let's talk. You're not the only one. I knew the problem before I left. And I know the problem since I came back, right? So little by little, Decan is developing these programs and these conversations, which will come up from time to time. What if? Our place has a big tree, right? And even we're developing a program called The Stool, right? Bring photographers community together and let's talk about these things, right? And figure out one after the other to be able to solve these problems. There's a friend of mine who is a filmmaker. He just did a documentary around Africa. He said he was inspired by my work. And just before I got here, we were talking. We're going to stream his movie at Decan next year, right? Movie. And again, I use first principle to do everything. Break it down. What is movie festival or screening night? Just come. We all come together. We have popcorn. We have drinks. Kelly, and then we have tables and chairs around, and a big screen, big projector, good music. That's it, right? And if I do that for Alex, won't he inspire you that you go and do that work about the galamsey, about the corruption, about the other things, which has never been told, right? About the culture, which we don't talk about the educational problems, and be screened at Decan Center for free. Think about it. This will motivate a lot of people, and that's why I call it Decan. We are taking the lead. But again, I will inspire generation and other people to also take the lead to solve the various problems, because I'm not going to solve all the problems.
Yeah.
But it's a collective work of all of us bringing. That's why the gallery functioned very well. The gallery served that purpose. The gallery also, we've partnered with other galleries, film festivals, and other things across the world. We have about 16 partnerships so far. Wow. So when your work is exhibited at Decan Gallery, automatically it can go to Dubai, it can go to London, it can go to New York. And by the time it comes back as a traveling exhibition, I'm sure your work can be sold for probably $300 or $500, and it'll become a job creation and opportunity for photographers. My brother, if one picture is sold for $100, or if you're able to get $10,000 a year from just selling of your pictures, you get different channels of distribution. So as we're educating people, we're figuring a way out to also provide jobs and security for other people. Because the camera here, sometimes I've been talking to Sony and other camera companies, and I'm like, if you're able to, a young photographer, be able to buy a camera of $3,000 in Ghana, $3,000 in the US, I would never, ever buy a camera with physical cash. I use credit cards, and again, the credit card, I write it off of my taxes.
And you even pay on a monthly basis.
And monthly basis, and the clients can pay. So I have a Sony FX9.
Okay.
I paid it off because the clients, I will charge you every single time I use it. So I have prospects that, you know, I see people with huge cameras. I said, yo, this camera worth $13,000 US.
And the person bought it cash.
Cold
Shoot.
hard cash. Full cash down.
So when a person comes to shoot, and then you're there saying, mommy, the pictures.
Trauma.
You're fighting them because you want to use your iPad instead.
Oh God.
Well, Winston, this show was really brought to us by Winston. Winston's Trauma was sponsored by Winston's Trauma. Don't worry. Decan is here for you.
I'm actually thinking of, when you mentioned Sony, I have an idea for a project Selassie and I have wanted to do. We didn't know how to go about it, but we wanted to do, which had to do with image quality with respect to Africa, because we use the same cameras as the Peter McKinnons and all those things, pretty much similar settings, but when it comes to color grading, you see a very distinct difference. And I know it's a whole scientific thing because I actually studied remote sensing. So I know it's because of Rayleigh scattering and so many things. But images just look red.
My brother, that's a man. Okay, the camera was not built for you.
Exactly. So that's what the project will be. We need to, if we
The
could,
engineer is white. The skin tone is different.
different.
I've said this over and over again. I
They
thought
don't
I was
seem
a
to get
madman.
Do you know one of the most difficult shots to take is when you are shooting, let's say, an event, and there are white people and there are black people standing together. It is so complicated. It is so.
We're gonna go for a quick commercial break. Our last commercial break. When we come back, this conversation is taking a very nice turn, a very interesting turn. But yeah, we'll be right back. And we're back. The show is Geek Squad, brought to you by MTN. MTN, keep doing. Just like we're keeping on with Geek Squad, and download Ayoba, and then we'll chat on Ayoba.
Yeah, we actually will have an interesting conversation
About Ayoba.
Very
Yeah.
interesting. Very interesting.
We want to know how many people are using Ayoba. And what are you using
People
it
actually
for.
should use Ayoba.
You should use Ayoba. Actually, it's free.
It's free, and like you will talk.
Yeah.
talk.
Just we gave you that paw. So when you start using it, and you start saving data. Remember where you heard it first.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's Geek Squad. So I've got a message from Nana Kwesi. I know Nana Kwesi is giving me live updates on football, even though we're not watching the football. He says he's listening live, but
His eyes are on the
Croatia is down by two goals. So Messi is leading. Oh wait, Ronaldo's gone home.
Yeah.
So that means now there's officially a GOAT.
Let's not get into this.
I mean, I'm
I'm
just
not.
saying.
I'm not a football
I'm
fan.
not a football fan either,
but
but
I have.
I think it's settled, isn't
No,
it?
I know. I think
There's
this.
only one goal. That's King Louis. So I don't know what you're talking about.
You two, you've taken the thing somewhere, Kra.
I know for a second. I thought you was even going to say LeBron or something like that.
This man coming back, he just came with a formatted brain. I don't know.
Now he's the Jim Smith. See,
Today he hasn't even spoken. Did you get traumatized in the US, Michael?
I'm listening to all of you people relive your trauma, and I'm just here laughing, laugh the pain away. I'm a Ghanaian, of course. I'm
so
traumatized.
I have a series of questions, but we can't exhaust them.
Okay,
So,
go ahead.
like I mentioned, when you're going through the grind of just shooting in Ghana, it gets very boring, gets very monotonous. So, would DCAM be an avenue to help support people to do their own unique passion projects? Because I feel like this is a statement for people who are pre-existing photographers who want to do stuff but can't afford to do stuff. Because like I said, just the equipment alone is exorbitant.
yeah.
So do you have any avenues where people can get some form of support to shoot something, to put something together? Because I know a lot of people who want to shoot things, do a lot of stuff, and I feel like there will be a lot of appreciation when locally we start creating good content. Because look at Nigeria. Nigeria right now is on a Netflix thing. Like Nigeria is really going hard, but it's like nobody in Ghana wants to foot the bill for good content creation. So are you guys going to look at something like
Yes, 100%. You know, I've divided the education into several layers, right? The youth, the teen. We have something called Teen Academy. We have the early photographers, and then we have the matured photographers, and we even have the older generation, right? We fulfill all these needs. So we already have systems in places where APAC, all these wonderful photographers and filmmakers are already in the system. So we're currently working on it, right? Next year, we're trying to seek partnership grants, you know, but also the issue also is that we want to bring in the photographers and filmmakers. For example, if you're doing a project, come talk to us. Right? How do we help? Based on my contacts and connections, we'll see and position ourselves, right? How do even photographers write grants? How photographers, the creative, they have this joke that photographers can write.
I mean, they say pictures is
You get the point. So we've been training photographers in writing as well, right? So these are some of the things we are launching Decan on 16th, 4 to 8 p.m. And then also we're doing Stories for Good, which is Brandon Stanton, my very good friend, Humans of New York, is coming to Ghana. Yes. He's coming to Ghana. He's actually heading to the airport right now.
Oh, wow.
And it coming in tomorrow. So he's going to be here with us, and we're going to do Stories for Good. I want photographers to come, filmmakers, writers, everybody come listen to someone who also so backstory. I worked with Brandon when I was in New York, so I knew the behind the scene and how he's able to. Now he has almost 60 million followers on social media platform. He, during pandemic, he raised $8.5 million US for people, right? So I want people to come and listen to him. The stories for good, right? How he did this, right? And what inspiration we can, and that happens on Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m. Right?
Great.
Yes.
So the opening is on Friday, 4 to 8.
Yes.
And then Story for Good is on Saturday,
Yes.
4 to 7.
Yes.
So we've got a message from Bright Dra over here. He says, listening to you guys, and I feel so sad. The ecosystem you guys talking about doesn't exist here. Here on our side of the world, photographers see themselves as competitors. No one is willing to open up to share what they know. The other thing is how people look down on creatives in this country. But I'm glad to hear what your guest is putting together.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I've not had any hope in a long time about. I mean, I have hope in writing. Like I can sit down and write scripts and screenplays for myself. Then I look at it, I'm like, oh, this is cool. If I could do this, this is amazing. And then I'm just like, okay, cool. But as in actively, but listening to this, I thought my hope in the system was dead. But yeah, so you'll see me on Friday.
Oh,
You'll see me
yeah,
on
definitely. We're all going to be there on
voice.
Friday.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
We're all going to be there Friday. So if you're listening, you're creative. Like I said, doesn't matter whether photo, video, or Photoshop, or one of those guys that prints, billboards, those ones that they put on the cloth and they hang themselves. Come. I mean, you could.
That means Selassie's dad can come.
Anyone who's a creative.
Yeah.
If you're not a creative and you dabble, like me, it's not my smartphone I used to take pictures. Yeah.
I mean, I get so many calls, people telling me, oh, they want to get into photography. How do they do it? And
Yeah.
I'm like, me personally, it's like, and at the end of you, so like, I'm not,
You're
I'm
not
not interested
motivated or
anymore. So
inspired.
I'm not the right person to teach you, but I can ask people who teach you. But there's a center for you to come and learn now. So
And then again, one of the things I would say is that, right, who are going to teach you,
Yeah.
right? There are parks, the Nana Kofi Quest, right?
Yeah.
We're using our local people because the knowledge is there, the resources there. And again, I'll couple it with, Joey L,
no.
the photographer, Pete Seuss, Obama's photographer.
Yes.
We, recently there've been a couple of like growing industry of presidential photographers, MPs photographers, DCE photographers, right? So these are some of the things we're looking forward to. So Deacon is open for everybody. It's a place for everybody. It's not a place where gatekeepers are there. I'm not. I'm just a chief servant, right? And a linguist.
It doesn't mean it doesn't have a gate man at it.
We don't have a gate man.
It's open.
No,
I mean
the-
fiscal security guard.
Yes, we
In the
have
evening.
that.
Evening, yeah, I'm just telling you
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
watch man did it.
The watchman did it, but the rest,
Anyway, so yes, the show has been Geek Squad, brought to you by MTN. Thank you for joining us, Paul. Thank you for the great job that you're doing. We're going to be there on Friday for the grand opening of the Decan Center. It's a visual education center. You guys should come there. Winston will be there. I will be there. Michael will be there.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole gang is going to be there. So yes, thank you for a message also, Nana Kwesi. We miss you too, and we miss everyone who's been missing us too. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Abeku. Thank you, production crew, Crispy, and thank you to the big man, Prince. We're gonna up next is the news. We'll catch you next week with another.